It is, what is today? Yeah, it's Monday, September 15th, 2025, all day. And this episode is Jared Bridegan, crime scene body cams, interviews. We're going to talk about it, but good morning. Welcome to the channel. My name is Lana, and I'll be your host as always. So one of my favorite reporting stations for everything to do with this case, which in case you don't know about it, we'll be talking about it. First Coast, right here, First Coast News in Jacksonville.
Brand new videos in what prosecutors are calling a murder for hire case of a Jacksonville father.
Jared Bridegan was shot and killed in Jacksonville Beach back in February 2022. 3 people have been charged in connection with his death. That includes his ex-wife, Shanna Gardner, and her second husband, Mario Fernandez Saldana. Henry Taint was also arrested, accused of pulling the trigger in exchange for money.
Our Riley Phillips has been digging into the brand new evidence from the prosecution tonight. And Riley, what are you learning about all of this?
Yes, we received body camera video of the scene the night Jared Bridegan was killed, along with video of police pulling over Mario Fernandez Saldana. But we're also hearing interviews with Henry Taint and a former friend of Shanna Gardner who felt compelled to go to law enforcement with information. Newly released video shows the aftermath of the scene where local father Jared Bridegan was shot and killed in Jacksonville Beach. Investigators believe Bridegan was shot while trying to move this tire from the road. Prosecutors with the state attorney's office allege Bridegan's death was orchestrated by 3 people: Shanna Gardner, Mario Fernandez Saldana, and Henry Taint. In a newly released interview with Taint, recorded just a few months after the shooting, he says he knew Fernandez Saldana for several years and rented a place from him.
You said about 3 years you rented from Mario?
Yeah.
Taint pleaded guilty to shooting Bridegan in March 2023 in exchange for $150,000. Prosecutors believe he was hired by Gardner and Fernandez Saldana. This new body camera video shows police officers stopping Fernandez Saldana on February 6, 2023.
Yeah, you mind stepping out of the car for me?
Sure.
They originally told him he was stopped because his tag was covered, but he was quickly placed in the back of a police car before a detective read him a warrant to search his truck.
So we're going to be seizing your cell phone, your Samsung Galaxy A13 5G.
We're also hearing a new interview from one of Gardner's former friends. Elizabeth Smith told the state attorney's office she contacted someone with the ATF because she believed she had important information for the case. She says Gardner would discuss her situation with Bridegan and how Fernandez Saldana could, quote, take care of him. She also described an uncomfortable encounter with Fernandez Saldana.
And you called it a stare down?
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
What did he say?
He said, I'm in the military, I've killed people before.
Gardner and Fernandez Saldana are both expected to be in court next Friday. Their trial was supposed to start next month, but it was pushed back to August of next year.
Okay, that's why this stuff is getting released right now.
The man accused of executing brand new videos and what.
So I wonder how Jose Baez feels about this. This trial was supposed to happen in October. The trial is now happening in August of 2026 because the defense does not even have all of the discovery because there's issues with how they're getting the discovery to the defense team. There's also a taint team that messed up a bunch of stuff. So here we are. I want you to see this one. So this is some of the body cam. And they're discussing, that's his Tundra right there. Mario Saldana. They're going to seize his truck. The body cam that they put out, just like the little clip. So now that I know that it's available, we're doing our job. There you go. This runs for way longer, and they just didn't put it all out.
Sweet.
All right. Have a good night.
Smell it?
I didn't smell it, but you know what? I believe you. Is that good enough? Sleep good tonight.
Did you just hear that? They said they told him to sleep good tonight. And I thought they were going to be taking his truck. I thought they were going to be taking his phone. So we're going to get our hands on all of this because this doesn't make any sense. Where he's like, lets him then out of the cop car, sleep good tonight. Well, I thought this was the arrest of him. So do they like pull him back over? Jacksonville, this news station, they were like, we're not going to show all the body cam because they had the body cam of like the actual night of the shooting.
16:30.
They had it out there and they took it down. I didn't think that they would.
16:30 up to 12.
So they must have caught a little bit of shit.
What's going on, man?
Huh?
Hey, do you have any weapons on you or anything?
No. I'm gonna pat you down, make sure you don't.
Sure.
Just your keys? Yeah. All right, I'm gonna take those off here.
What's it? Do you have a bulge up here? What's in here?
Nothing.
Just
I have my, this is my wallet. All right, you can come back here. Sure.
What's up, Mary? Good morning. This is so many years later. Can you just get out of your car? Oh, yeah, Vegas.
Hey, boss, go ahead and kick your feet in. Someone's going to come talk to you in just a second, all right?
Okay, sure.
You guys, nobody gets pulled over for a tag or.
So here's the thing. They think you may be drinking. All right, so.
Okay, so one, when you get pulled over, you don't have like 10 vehicles and 15 sheriff, local police, ATF. That's just not what happens, right? Good morning there, Angel. Good morning and welcome to Laura, new member, Silver Bullet, new member. Good morning if you guys are watching. Again, this is Mario Saldana was getting pulled over. There was body cam, way more. The whole body cam is out there. It's available to get from the state now. They pulled it from the local news outlets because they put up a bunch. And then I was like, oh, great. And they had like the length of it. And I was just like, awesome. They pulled it and just left 1 and 2 minute clips. Immediately when I saw that it was even available, I was like, well, that's interesting because normally in a case when you have it's still pending, it hasn't even gone to trial, they want to try to keep it in Jacksonville, right? And then the body cam would go out. Not only did the body cam go out, but the 911 call went out. So let me type that in.
Well, it was a crime that stunned the Jacksonville Beach community. A father ambushed and killed with his 2-year-old daughter sitting in the back seat.
And we are getting a clearer picture of what happened in the months after Jared Bridegan was shot. After the state attorney's office did release some 911 calls and also the body cam footage. News4Jax reporter Brianna Brownlee breaks down what we are learning from the release.
I've seen the body cam footage and it's difficult to watch. What it shows is officers arriving to the scene.
Oh my God. Okay, is it just me? 1-800, how can I help you?
I've seen the body cam footage and it's difficult to watch. What it shows is officers arriving to the scene, finding Jared Bridegan's body in the road covered by a sheet. We did hear from the witnesses who made the 911 calls, who heard the gunshot. Is officers arriving to the scene, finding Jared Bridegan's body in the road covered by a sheet. We did hear from the witnesses.
They put a sheet over him?
Who made the 911 calls, who heard the gunshots.
There's multiple 911 calls, by the way. There's not just one caller. There's multiple 911 callers. And see how she just said in the beginning, I watched it all. Yeah, all of it was out there. Then they pull it. They pull it from, their channel. Because that's what the mainstream media does. Nope. That's not going to fit our narrative, or nope, we're not going to put this out. We're only going to put out
as well as saw the chaotic scene. Take a listen.
Jacksonville Beach 911.
I'm pretty sure I just heard 3 or 4 gunshots.
Newly released 911 calls from the state of.
That's all they played of it. What? Like, why aren't you just playing? Play the friggin' call.
Attorney's office are from right after the shooting that killed 33-year-old Jared Bridegan. Right before, Bridegan dropped off his twins at his ex-wife Shanna Gardner's home after they had a date night with their dad. He was heading back to St. Augustine with his daughter, who was 2 at the time, strapped in her car seat in the back seat. Bridegan pulled over when he saw this tire in the street. Investigators say it was left there deliberately as part of a murder-for-hire plot.
We're driving by Sanctuary Boulevard, corner to JT Butler. Okay. And there is a car standing in the middle of the road. There is a guy standing on the floor. There was a little girl inside, and there is a Samaritan guy that came up and took the girl.
Police later identified the man on the ground as Jared Bridegan. Shell casings were found near his body, but none of the 911 callers that night reported seeing a shooter or even a car leaving the scene. But detectives say that over time, they followed the evidence and eventually it led them to Bridegan's shooter. Investigators say it was all part of a murder-for-hire plot masterminded by Bridegan's ex-wife, Shanna Gardner, and her new husband, Mario Fernandez. A plan they say was set up in November of 2021. They believe Fernandez hired Henry Taint to be the shooter.
There's the belief, at least in most of the legal community, that Henry Taint is going to come back in and say, what I told you before was not true. How much of that is not true, his involvement, what he did, Shanna Gardner's involvement or not, we don't exactly know.
Taint eventually pleaded guilty and admitted to being the gunman. Gene Nichols is a Jacksonville attorney who is not affiliated with this case. He says that if Taint decides to withdraw his guilty plea, he could face the death penalty.
Where that gets so interesting from a trial standpoint is he's willing to face the death penalty. Why would he be willing to do that unless he's actually telling the truth when he backtracks? And that's going to be a very strong argument for the defense.
Now, Taint is...
This is going to be a very, very interesting case. We've been following it here from the beginning. It is very messy. It is very messy. And the tactics employed by the Jacksonville Police Department are going to be on full display. And Detective Johns is going to get his ass opened up like he did in the previous hearings. Jose Baez does not have press conferences by himself on stairs of the courthouse or right outside of it. He doesn't do that type of stuff. He did it in this case because he was so enraged by the prosecutorial misconduct and the misconduct of law enforcement, flat out lying in documents. And it's like, well, we're no stranger to that. I saw it with the Idaho 4 case. It was unfolding in front of our eyes. And then they just came out and admitted it in the Idaho 4 case. Like, it's okay that we admit it after the judge made a ruling, then we could talk about how bad we truly did the United States citizens, because you're violating our rights when you're just lying in probable cause affidavits. So here in this case, the portions of the discovery were released. I printed all those out, but there's reports that are missing from it. There's redactions, but you don't. It's night and day from the Idaho 4 redactions. Like it's crazy. You can actually like read the documents, okay, and know what's going on. Whereas you read the Idaho 4 police reports and you have no idea, blankety blankety blank blank blank. You know, it's not like that at all with the Jared Bridegan case. In this case, they totally misrepresented the dates of checks and when Henry Tennant was getting paid and what he was getting paid for and when that happened. People want to call this the Adelson 2.0. I don't think it's anything like that. I think that Mario Saldana went rogue. I do. And I think the evidence is going to show that. I think Mario Saldana was a swinger. He was trying to engage in swinging activity, and Shanna Gardner was not a swinger. Shanna Gardner married Mario Saldana because of the way that her divorce was all worked out. He could only help out with the kids if they were married. Okay. So she had to marry him. But he was basically like a Manny, if you want my opinion. You got it. He was like the Manny. They were going to be splitting up Shanna Gardner and him. And Mario had a cush life when he married Shanna Gardner. Shanna Gardner comes from a family with a lot of money. And the paperwork is going to show that Shanna Gardner was working like multiple jobs, and I have no idea what Mario Saldana was doing. I know he's a gamer. He's just a wild one. I think he went rogue, and to keep things coming in and pumping for his financial gain, him taking care of Bridegan and blackmailing potentially then Shanna Gardner. I'm interested to see how this all plays out. But then again, also, could she be involved? But I have no idea why you would ever write a check for someone to kill somebody, and you would write a check. That's what the state is going to be alleging, that there was checks written. And it's like, what? And who gets paid in increments of like, hey, you're going to get paid $150,000, but we're going to pay you over time. And you're just going to go and kill this guy. It's bizarre. Also, they only knew each other because he was a tenant of Mario Saldana. So Mario Saldana rented a house that Henry Tennant lived in. Shanna Gardner had nothing to do with that. Henry Tennant said that he's never met Shanna Gardner, never talked to her. He may have saw her in passing if she was in the truck one day and waved or something. But he's never implicated Shanna Gardner whatsoever. They're trying to tie Shanna Gardner to being the mastermind of this, kind of similar like what they did with Donna Adelson. But Donna Adelson was signing checks and writing checks. That's nothing that happened in this case, which it was, they're trying to say that money was being transferred into an account that Mario Saldana would then write checks from. And they had a joint account it was coming from, things like that. But what they failed to tell the community, all of us that were watching, and Jose Baez went absolutely apeshit and said, wait a second, wait 1 minute. Like, you guys tried to portray this funding of this account that it happened just like right before a check was written. That's not the case. It's like months before that. Okay. So
due back in court December 2nd with his new attorney. As for Gardner and Fernandez.
So here, finding out that Henry Tennant has a new attorney. Originally, Henry Tennant said that he was the shooter and that what's his name? Mario Saldana had hired him. Then fast forward to a couple months back, he said that he lied and that he wants to take back what he said. And he basically was blaming his attorney for something. And then he came back and then the state tried to hush it all up by having a meeting. Hey, we can't bring him back out here on, out in public. Let's have a meeting with him so it's off the record, and let's go take him back, come to the district attorney's office tomorrow, and we can talk, but this cannot be on the record, because he had like a hearing with Judge Kite, which is like a status conference. At the status conference, Henry Tennant just starts blurting out all of this stuff. And the state tried to hide all of this, tried to hide the fact that Henry Tennant was basically going back on his plea agreement, and more importantly, going back on his confession. Okay. Henry Tennant lived in Mario Saldana's house that Mario Saldana rented. Mario was the landlord. Wonder if Mario had any connection to the Adelson peeps. Mary, no, not at all. None. This isn't, no. Two totally parts of different of Florida. Has nothing to do with the other one. I was just using that as a people talking about this case and saying that it was the Adelsons 2.0. It's nothing like that, in my opinion. We're talking about swingers. We're talking about lifestyles. We're talking about somebody shooting somebody with a kid in a car. Okay, wild stuff. Mary's like, I was joking. Mary's like, I was joking. It's too early in the morning for me, Mary. But I want you guys to hear what Jose Baez had to say. I cannot believe that more people aren't talking about this, because people just don't do this. Lawyers do not come out and have their own press conferences.
Time. She's never experienced anything like this, and contrary to what some people may believe based on what occurred in court today, she's never been in trouble with the law before, and to be charged with something so horrific and so serious, where the government is trying to, for all intents and purposes, kill you, it would rattle anyone, and she's certainly no exception.
What is some of your strategy in this case, albeit at the early
Yeah,
stages?
he's going to give you trial strategy.
They have nearly 100 witnesses and 7 terabytes of electronic data. What is your strategy to handle that? And
well, you got to read it. So I'm absolutely certain, without an inkling of a doubt, that there's not going to be 100 witnesses in this case. That's very common. Many times it's their obligation to inform the number of people who might have information, and that's really all that is. So I think you don't want to read too much into that. And our government can burn a lot of paper, so that's where the 7 terabytes probably comes from.
Our government can burn a lot of paper.
The state wants to charge Ms. Gardner along with Mr. Fernandez jointly. Is it your belief that they should be charged separately based on her potential not guiltiness?
Well, I'm not a fan, generally speaking, of trying people together. I think everybody should have their day in court, and that day should be individual and specific to them. So I would say that about any case that I'm not a fan of that. So I don't interpret this any differently.
What holes do you plan on punching in the state's case at this point? Is there something that you're aware of that points directly to her innocence in this case?
Well, she's innocent, so that's number one. And as far as what strategies, as you heard, I haven't even got the discovery yet, so I couldn't even comment, nor would I even if I did.
Exactly. What a stupid question. What is his strategy? You gonna give him his? Get the fuck out of here! He can't even answer that. But now after that, so that was one of his first appearances. Shanna Gardner's family has a lot of money. Shanna Gardner's family went ahead and I think put $1 million retainer down for Jose Baez. And now after they had a hearing for, it was to have a bail reduction or even have her make bail. And they had 2 hearings. And Jose Baez caught the lead detective in a bunch of little lies, okay, as well as the state, the prosecution, committing misconduct and leading the courts astray and down a path that's not reality. And so this is the next time he comes out and speaks. I like what Jose Baez said there. Everybody deserves their day in court. I don't think the people should be together with that. Everybody deserves their day. So now I'm going to play.
Gardner's attorney, Jose Baez, made allegations on Friday that the state attorney's office was withholding favorable evidence. Now, Gardner and Fernandez are charged with murder and conspiracy to commit murder on charges that police have described as a murder for hire plot to kill Gardner's ex-husband, Jared Bridegan. Now, the latest motion stemming from the 7-hour bond hearing held in May for Gardner. In court today, Allen was
7-hour bond hearing. Have you guys ever heard of such a thing? And trust me, it was worthy of a 7-hour bond hearing. In Florida, it works a little bit differently. 7 hours. So we play that on this channel. You can go back and see if you look at my Jared Bridegan case coverage. 7-hour bond hearing.
Rahi with the state attorney's office told the judge that there were no discovery violations and they will file a written response to the defense's motion. Now, a hearing on that latest motion will be held on August 16th, and we will keep you updated in this case.
Okay. So then Jose Baez does his interview, or not his interview. He goes and has his own press conference. Okay. And gets out on the stairs.
First off, the reason I've asked you to come out here today is because a matter of great importance and public interest has arisen, and I think it's important for everyone to have a certain amount of transparency as to what's actually going on in this case. I will start by saying this is not something I do often. In fact, it's the first time I've outwardly spoken in this case, other than a few brief comments for which I was approached walking to my car previously. Other than that, I really make very few public statements about the case because I believe much of which should be done in the courtroom, except and unless there are matters of great public interest and importance. Having said that, I'll start off by telling you that my office has filed, or will be filing shortly, today, a motion in this case advising the court of certain violations of Brady material, which is favorable evidence that was in the possession of the state and not turned over to the defense.
Do you understand, you guys? This does not happen. Jose Baez, when he came out and did this is unheard of to do. People could say, well, Lana, he's getting paid $1 million.
Of what the motion entails surrounds incidents and testimony that was elicited during the Arthur hearing,
which is
a bond hearing on May 15th of this year.
2024.
Now,
2025.
having said that,
2024.
that is an opportunity for those of you who know or don't know, is an opportunity for the state to put on a certain amount of evidence to be able to show that the accused should be held without bond pending the outcome of the case.
I believe that they are holding Shanna Gardner. They should not be holding Shanna Gardner. There is literally nothing tying her with the evidence that they have. Literally nothing. They had a woman try to come in and say 7 or 8 years ago, she made a joke about the type of potatoes that they make for funeral potatoes. Okay. They threatened people to say, we're going to make you a co-conspirator. Okay. If you don't do X, Y, and Z. I mean, this type of shit you cannot do, people. Okay. And I'm over here like, I'm of this set mindset. Evidence should lead to convictions. Okay. Not threats. Okay. Not somebody feeling like they're threatened. Feeling like if I don't do this, wait, you're going to charge me? Okay, I'm going to tell you anything you want me. What do you want me to say, dude? I have nothing to do with this, but I'll fucking say anything you want me to say. We're going to arrest you right now. You know, that is going to freak people out. Okay? But Jacksonville had nothing on Shanna Gardner. Nothing. Okay? They want to arrest Mario because of what Henry Tenen said. Okay. Go right ahead. They arrested Mario. Now they're trying to get, how can we link Shanna Gardner to this? Because why would Mario just do this on his own type of thing, right? Okay, great. Look, though, at the evidence, you guys, and we've talked about it on this case. This miraculous tire just shows up months later on the lawn, the front ditch lawn of Mario's Tenen's house, Henry Tenen's house, on the same day or just right thereafter, that the cops show up months later. And it was the other tire from the spare set that was located in a truck that's in some like junkyard, basically, but it's a private little junkyard. My personal opinion is, because of the discovery, is that they found where that truck was, they found that other tire, and they put it out on that lawn. I would love to know how Jose Baez can prove that, though.
Now, during the course of that hearing, we learned of a meeting that took place between the two prosecutors involved in this case. One of them I see here today. I presume he's going to open himself up for questions after. And I would invite that, of course, to hopefully respond to some of the issues that occurred in this matter. First off, it's dealing with the testimony of Detective Johns, who during the course of that testimony elicited or spoke of certain text messages between a individual whose initials are KJ and another person's whose initials are SL. This name had never been made known to us previously up until the night before the hearing.
Yes, we're in.
We objected to these text messages from coming in, and that was overruled. So they did come in a matter of course. We don't take issue with that. Detective Johns testified that he never spoke, that he believed one of his other officers spoke with this witness and that he did not. When pressed, he later stated that the witness had changed her phone number and they had a hard time getting a hold of her.
No, that's true.
The SL was actually watching the hearing at that time and was outraged by the lies told by Detective Johns in this matter.
And I'll remind everyone, this is a death penalty case where the state is attempting to utilize the color of law to kill another human being. So, as part of this is testimony. Number one, it turns out that Miss SL did not change her phone number. She has the same phone number and has had the same phone number since 2014. So that was an outright lie. In addition to that, no other detective spoke with Miss SL. It was Detective Johns who, in fact, spoke with Miss SL.
Oh my God.
That was his second lie.
Eating his
and
ass.
That was upon being pressed. Now, these are clear, unambiguous, straight up lies made by the lead detective involving a critical witness who was allegedly being solicited for to hire a hitman for murder. As it turns out, the actual truth was that this was a running joke between the two witnesses that I previously mentioned, who apparently witness SL's husband is an African American, and there was a member who she worked with who had specifically approached her and made an offensive comment asking whether he knew any individuals who were involved with crime.
Because he's black.
So naturally, amongst friends, they continued to chide her. And that's specifically what was
Years in the past, like 6-7 years ago.
done within those text messages. They were text messages made in jest. And as you also heard during the course of that hearing, there was this meeting between the two lead prosecutors as well as the two lead detectives with KJ. KJ also got to view this hearing, and as it turns out, was equally enraged by some of the lies told by Detective Johns and some of the key facts omitted by the prosecution, such as the statements and many of the text messages that were displayed in an attempt to keep Shanna Gardner in custody. They were told specifically by KJ that many of them were made in jest and they were not taken seriously by anyone. And in fact, many of the individuals who were surrounding this case knew that. This critical information, which is exculpatory information, was never disclosed to the defense. And it wasn't until after the Arthur hearing that we were able to uncover that these statements, for which are non-recorded and no police report was done.
Jesus!
I think that's worth mentioning here because I don't stand here and take this situation lightly. I realize that I am being highly critical of both prosecution and law enforcement in this case, but it does not come easy for me. But I hold them to the highest standards, as we all expect our elected officials and our public servants to act.
Yes.
And in this situation, that critical information was not disclosed. And as you saw during the hearing, I was highly critical of the fact that
Jose Baez is going to fucking destroy them in court. Absolutely destroy them.
they did not record this meeting and that they did not write a police report stating as such.
How do you do that? You're meeting with a freaking witness.
You know, my position is simple. Even held in the best of lights, with the best intentions, completely honest intentions, if you have 4 highly trained individuals getting a statement from the most critical witness in the case, you record it. Otherwise, you're incredibly incompetent.
Yes.
And perhaps they should be fired for that reason.
Yes. 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 Do your fucking job, bitches. Yes. No, nothing different at Burger King, McDonald's. If you're burning burgers, you ain't going to have a job. That is highly incompetent. You know why? Because it tells you what to do. Press for 30 seconds to heat this bitch up.
I would want
Woo!
police officers investigating a crime that I believe is incredibly important, especially one to me, to do their job appropriately and competently. And clearly that's not done, and nothing's being said or done about it.
Yeah!
And that's a big problem.
Yeah!
You can't expect to hold our public officials accountable if you don't hold them accountable.
Exactly.
Let me finish. There's more information I have to disclose.
Yes.
So
there's a lot more information. Dude, love it. He's using the term lies. Okay? Because that's what it is. We don't need to be sugarcoating shit. I love it. I wrote his office, said, dude, if you need anybody to research a damn thing, free of charge, here's my email. Best out there. You need someone to connect dots? I'll go up against anybody in the country. You know, in one of his trials, he was probably one of the first people to use online people.
You have the situation where this secret meeting is taking place with no recordings and no police reports written on the meeting and no disclosure to the defense.
That's exactly what was happening in the Idaho 4 case. Ann Taylor was gagged, though, because there was a gag. She couldn't come out and even do anything like this. There's a gag order. Shanna Gardner's case, there is no gag order. Karen Reed's case, there was no gag order until the very end of all that. Fuck these gag orders.
When we are trying to seek release from pretrial custody, which are founded on constitutional principles, such as the presumption of innocence, such as having your day in court, such as holding the government to its full burden. All of these are ignored and being circumvented. Just because it's popular doesn't make it right. And furthermore, what did we learn from this overall hearing? Well, there's some ugly text messages, and that's it. I don't think anyone learned any more information about Shanna Gardner's involvement, alleged involvement, or non-involvement in this case, other than there were some bad text messages who we now find out were as a result of many of them in jest, taken out of context. And if that's all you have, so what do you do next? You manufacture a case.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that we're at that point yet.
Oh, we are.
But I see very, very potentially harmful things along the horizon, such as having meetings and not recording them.
Yes.
Having meetings and not doing police reports.
Yes.
And not disclosing favorable evidence to the defense.
Yes.
As early as yesterday, the prosecutors turned over more additional statements that were allegedly made by KJ at this secret meeting. Many of which KJ even denies that were ever said, and KJ also says were taken completely out of context and spun in a direction that was wholly inappropriate.
Wholly.
When prosecutors don't have a case, these are the things that are done.
Yep.
And I will tell you what happens next. When you don't have evidence and you have a case like this, the next inclination is to go out and get yourself a jailhouse snitch.
Yes.
So I presume that's being done right now. There's a little shopping that might be going on or might not be. But as a result, what we have done.
I freaking love that part of it because that's why he wants get my client out of jail. Okay. We have to work on our defense. Okay. I believe that Shanna Gardner should be out on bond, bail. She should have made it. She should be working with her defense team on her defense. You don't have that type of access in jail. You don't definitely have any type of privacy. They can say whatever they want. Oh, we have private calls and no one can get to them and blah, blah, blah. No. Okay. What they are holding her on, in my opinion, is not good enough. to not, like, she should have bail. But they know that even if they put it at whatever they were to put it at, her family has so much money that even if you made it here, 4 mil, done. 10 mil, done. I'm not playing.
Is we are sending a letter to the elected state attorney in this case, Melissa Nelson, and we're going to be, and as well as law enforcement in this case, advising them that Shanna Gardner is represented, and they are not to send in any agents of the state to try and go in who are actually trying to make a deal for themselves and trying to better their current situation while in jail to be able to hurt and harm Shanna.
Okay, so think about the Adelson case, okay? They freaking had basically the jail inmates, right? Okay, why do you think that Georgia Kaplan was able to have those people come testify and say, this is what Donna said, this is how she told me to say this is her handwriting, blah, blah, blah. You guys, if you really think that Donna Adelson's that dumb, the difference is Donna Adelson's attorneys are nothing compared to Jose Baez. He got in front of all of that shit and came out here and told the world about it. We're forecasting what's about to happen. Next thing that we're going to have is jailhouse snitches. Okay. And befriending Shanna Gardner in jail, acting like your friend. Just like the internet. Just like the internet.
Shanna Gardner in a death penalty case. That's a textbook move, and we are calling them out. And I'm telling you right now, if that happens in the future, you will be able to go back at this moment and you'll be able to know and see that I was absolutely 100% correct. So watch out for that. That's coming next. And you cannot have, under any circumstances, a police officer lying in a court of law, lying to a judge who has to make the critical decision to hold someone while in custody. Everybody forgets Shanna Gardner has a child who is terminally ill. You have this child who may not live, being completely torn away from his mother while she waits. Could be a year, could be 2 years, could be even longer for trial, and for which you're seeking the death penalty. The stakes couldn't be higher. And in fact, the actual conduct couldn't be more egregious.
It's egregious.
This is not something this community should stand for. When they elected Melissa Nelson, they should have expected her to hold her standards, her prosecutors to a heightened standard for which they can fully work within the public trust. And that doesn't mean violating agreements while maintaining attorney-client privilege materials, for which this court has even acknowledged was poor judgment. And now we have this, withholding favorable evidence from the defense prior to a critical hearing, and then later on afterwards, doing it again even more. As recently as yesterday, we got more statements that allegedly occurred during the secret meeting that was non-recorded. So, folks, I employ all of you who are here to, we're trying to do our job. We want you to ask the tough questions.
Yes.
Don't take the guided tour.
Yes.
This case is not as simple and as open and shut as it has been laid out to be. You have only heard one side of this case, and what's coming out of it reeks. And I think all of you, it's your journalistic responsibility to seek out and ask them, why are you putting on a police officer who's lying on the stand?
Yes.
Why are you allowing that to happen?
Why would you need that?
Recording meetings with very important critical witnesses? Why are you not getting these statements completely locked down? And ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you, there's a very good reason, and the reason is an obvious one. So I would ask that all of you, and even those who are listening, to seek out and ask these questions and hold them to their level of professionalism.
Yeah, their standard.
And I can tell you this, it gives me no pleasure to stand here and do this. None whatsoever. I hate it. Hate it with every being, every part of my being. but I will do it. I will fulfill my oath as an officer of the court and as the lawyer who's been entrusted with Shanna Gardner's life. They're not going to get away with lying in the courtroom. We're not going to stop until we seek justice in this case. They're not going to get away by creating evidence, and we're not going to allow that to happen in this case. I certainly hope that if there's any ambiguities, that they clear them up immediately, that they explain why they didn't record that meeting, why they didn't file a police report on that meeting, why Detective Johns is lying about speaking to a person when in fact he actually did, lying as to why she changed her number when in fact she still to this day has not changed her number.
Unbelievable.
There's no reason any of these things could have had to have occurred in this case. If they really have a case.
Yes.
If their case is as open and shut as they say it is, to the point where they're confident enough to seek the ultimate penalty of death, then none of this should be going on.
You don't need to do any of this.
None of this. And the fact that they expect us to stand by and let it occur just isn't going to happen. Just is not going to happen. And I ask that all of you ask the tough questions. And by all means, if you want to ask me questions, I noticed Mr. Mizrahi left. You know, he doesn't want to answer to
Mr.
his
Mizrahi.
actions.
Yeah.
So it is.
Mr. Maserati, I call him. He's a little pussy. Puss, 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 puss. He's a little liar. He's a little cheater. Okay. And Jose Baez is going to eat his ass in court. Fucking hate liars, hate cheaters.
What it is. Perhaps.
Remember he said earlier that one of the prosecutors was out there? That's who he was talking about. And then he saw him walk out. And so he calls him out. I love it. Jose's like, oh, I noticed that Mr. Maserati.
They say it is, to the point where they're confident enough to seek the ultimate penalty of death, then none of this should be going on. None of this. And the fact that they expect us to stand by and let it occur just isn't going to happen. Just is not going to happen. And I ask that all of you ask the tough questions. And by all means, if you want to ask me questions, I noticed Mr. Mizrahi left. You know, he doesn't want to answer to his actions. So it is what it is. Perhaps he had another matter, and you're, in fact, he does. So I take that back. The reality is you need.
That's how hot and heated he was. He's like, I take it back. Maybe he didn't have a matter. Maybe he had to leave. Okay, because what he realized that he did there, that's extrajudicial statements right there. That he probably shouldn't have made. Okay, so he fluffed it right there to say, but. Calling him out and saying he doesn't want to answer questions. Okay.
Ask him, Miss Stifler, or Melissa Nelson, these stuff.
God, I love it. You guys, you cannot make up the names in this case. We got Maserati in this case. We got the woman prosecutor. Her name is Stifler from, like, you know, American Pie. Dude, Mrs. Stifler, come on down. And then Nelson is your DA. She runs, you know, and she did a bunch of big old pressers and
questions. And I think they owe the public answers, especially if they're putting on such type of evidence.
Mr. Baez, I'm just hoping to get some clarity. What specifically are you requesting in this motion? Is it a consideration of the bond? And
well,
two, how did you learn that this witness? How did you learn the?
She came forward, dipshit.
Additional context of witness.
Sure. Well, it's all laid out in our motion, so you'll be able to see it. But I will tell you this. First off, we learned about it because they were watching the hearing. And that specific witness, the first thing she did is she hired a lawyer. And that lawyer then contacted us.
Wow.
We were since able to obtain a sworn affidavit. And in fact, we even have the phone records from when Detective Johns actually called her. So there's no getting out of this one.
There is none.
And in addition to that, both witnesses submitted affidavits clarifying their position and basically saying that these statements were completely taken out of context and that are completely and utterly false.
Okay. So my standpoint is this. You show me one instance of you doing this. One. Detective Johns and his partner basically did all of the discovery. in terms of like they're going out and doing these. It's their reports that we're reading. Okay. You want me to believe a damn thing that he has wrote in any report? You've lost yourself. You do something like this, and that's where the word integrity comes. There is no then, as a juror, how do you put any faith into and stock into anything else that he's done with the case? You can't. That's what the term to me is, beyond a reasonable doubt. The moment that I'm catching and I'm starting to question as a juror the integrity of the investigation of the police, you're getting a not guilty verdict because of that burden of beyond a reasonable doubt. That's what that is. And that's what happened in the Karen Reed case.
And so filing this motion, what is your expectation or request of the court?
We're requesting, the court has numerous and broad discretion in a situation like this. She can dismiss the case. She can dismiss the state attorney's office and disqualify them. As we know, this is not their first brush with incidents in this case.
Oh my God.
And she can also give us reconsideration for the bond hearing for which we're asking for Shanna Gardner to be released. And that, of course, is one of the remedies that we're seeking as well.
And the individuals that have come forward that would allow you to file this motion, they would speak publicly if necessary?
If subpoenaed to testify, they would testify to the truth of what they're saying, yes.
Yeah.
There have been hearings in this case to talk about discovery and things like that moving forward after the...
Okay, so now check this out. This happened in May of this past year, okay? Right? Or was it May of the year before? God, I have all my stuff. I need to double check this. Yeah.
This critical information, which is
June
exculpatory
21st.
information, was never disclosed to the defense. And it wasn't until after the Arthur.
Okay. Because the Arthur hearing was at the end of May, like May 25th or something like that. So, yes, it was right before like the Delphi case trial. So this was planned to go to trial this October. And they just mentioned something about the discovery. You guys, the discovery would then go on to be a big problem in this case, okay? Because they have a taint team, okay? And remember, you're not allowed to look at stuff that has on people's phones and devices that has to do with people talking to their lawyers. If it was text messages, emails, then Mario and Shanna Gardner's conversation, that would have been off limits. And they admitted that they had seen stuff that they weren't supposed to. But more importantly, they, meaning Jose Baez's team, doesn't even have the entire discovery because the prosecution doesn't know how to transfer it and to get it to Jose Baez's team for it to be so that everybody has the same copy of the discovery, because it's leading to problems. Like, remember I was telling you guys about Bates numbers and shit like that? If you have a different copy of the discovery than I have, and I'm trying to tell you and show you where to go to find what I'm talking about when you guys are emailing each other back and forth and communicating like you're supposed to be doing as attorneys, okay? You then find out, wait a second, that's not what I have for that. Wait, I don't even have that. And here, I love this judge. She's fair as hell. I think she's fair as hell. But she's transparent and she speaks out and she's like, what's going on? How can we have, it is 2024 and you guys can't possibly within a couple hours have all this discovery stuff organized to the point that there should just be one here. This is the discovery. You have this, everybody has the same copy. How does that not happening in this day and age? That is what made it so that they could not even have the trial when they wanted to have the trial in October of 2025. And it got pushed all the way back to August of 2026. And I think that there might even be a delay on that. This case has not been able to proceed, okay, accordingly because of all of these amateur hiccups. It's embarrassing. And I can't believe that no one's talking about it. Like,
hearing that we were able to uncover that these statements, for which are non-recorded, going on. None of this. And the fact that they expect us to stand by and lying as to why she changed her number when in fact she still to this day has not changed her number. There's no reason any of these things could have had to have occurred in this case. If they really have a case, if their case is as open and shut as they say it is, to the point where they're confident enough to seek the ultimate penalty of death, then none of this should be going on. None of this.
It's a capital
and the
case.
fact that they expect us to stand by and let it occur just isn't going to happen.
Yes.
Just is not going to happen. And I ask that all of you.
But the odds of it happening with a public defender who's overworked, right? The odds, and this stuff all happens in drug cases and every little case all the way down, okay? And when you're overworked and yeah, stand by.
Ask the tough questions. And by all means, if you want to ask me questions, I noticed Mr. Mizrahi left. You know, he doesn't want to answer to his actions.
I just love that part. I had to play it again. Mr. Mizrahi, Mr. Maserati. You know that Britney Spears song?
From when Detective Johns
work, bitch.
actually called her. So there's no getting out of this one. And in addition to that, both witnesses submitted affidavits clarifying their position and basically saying that these statements were completely taken out of context and that are completely and utterly false.
Unbelievable.
We're requesting, the court has numerous and broad discretion in a situation like this. She can dismiss the case. She can dismiss the state attorney's office and disqualify them. As we know, this is not their first brush with incidents in this case. And she can also.
I think the difference with the Brian Kohler case and the Richard Allen case is in this case, just like in the Karen Reed case. Okay, so Karen Reed's found not guilty, right? Karen Reed is found not guilty. Karen Reed did not have a gag order in her case. Okay. Richard Allen's case had a gag order. That is a huge difference, in my opinion. It doesn't matter who you have as your attorney. If there's a gag order, like as far as anybody being able to speak out, or I think that all the filings should be always, you know, you're making something on the official record, it's open. Okay. Use the public docket.
Give us reconsideration for the bond hearing for which we're asking. We're asking for Shanna Gardner to be released. And that, of course, is one of the remedies that we're seeking as well.
Individuals that have come forward that would allow you to file this motion, they would speak publicly if necessary.
If subpoenaed to testify, they would testify to the truth of what they're saying, yes.
There have been hearings in this case to talk about discovery and things like that moving forward after the issues we've had with discovery previously. Why not bring this up at the next hearing? Why take this, I guess, drastic of a step rather than bringing it up before a judge?
I agree.
Well, it's not a drastic step. It's drastic conduct.
There you go.
So you have to respond in.
God, what a great comment back. You know, it's just so logical, that comment back. The lady says, this is her question.
Previously. Why not bring this up at the next hearing? Why take this, I guess, drastic of a step rather than bringing it up before a judge?
Well, it's not a drastic step. It's drastic conduct.
There you go.
Okay.
Not I'm not taking a drastic step. This is drastic conduct that I'm bringing to your attention. And see, but that type of a question saying that, oh, why are you being so drastic, is a way of saying dramatic. Okay. What? I'm over here explaining what has gone on, and you want to ask me why I'm telling you this in such a dramatic form or dramatic or drastic fashion. If me having and standing out on the front of the courthouse on the steps here and telling you what has gone on, if that's drastic for you, I'm going to call you dramatic. I'm telling you, I'm informing the public. How is that drastic? And I just love how he handled it. Drastic. I'm telling you about what the heck they're doing, but you just seem to only want to care what I'm doing.
Well, it's not a drastic step. It's drastic conduct. Okay, so you have to respond in kind. And number one, this was the first. As soon as we found out about this information, we immediately got affidavits to ensure that this testimony is sworn. And in addition to that, what we did next is we filed a motion. So there haven't been any court appearances since we've discovered all of this information. But I can assure you, they're all significant discovery violations. They disclosed some of the statements made in that meeting almost a year ago, okay? But they completely withheld the rest. And they absolutely withheld all exculpatory statements. How do you do that? Would any one of you want your family member or your fellow citizens to go through a system of justice like this? I would answer for you an absolutely no. And I tell you, I believe, these things require them to answer to. And the only way we're going to do it is by exposing it and having full transparency.
God, what a great name, Lana. Truth and transparency. Say it again, Jose. Exposing it and then transparency. Mine.
These things require them to answer to. And the only way we're going to do it is by exposing it and having full transparency.
Do you want to see Detective John barred from testifying in future hearings or at the trial?
There are a number of remedies that the court can fashion. That is one of them, as well as a potential jury instruction. And I don't know why you guys put me out here to fry like this in the hot sun. We asked you for all this. Yes, but we were told you wouldn't do it under a tree. But regardless.
We wouldn't do it under a tree.
Here I am sweating like crazy. What's that? Okay. I got you.
They didn't want us on the grass. Listen to them. They didn't want us on the grass. Put his ass on the stairs in 100-degree weather.
Any other questions?
Are you basically saying that Jacksonville Beach Police Department kind of botched this investigation?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they lied under oath in a court of.
I love it. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying they lied under oath. So true. Botched the investigation. I'm saying that they lied under oath. Love it. Love it. Blunt to the point. No, I'm saying they lied under oath. And this would happen before he gets the information that not only did they lie under oath, they then basically manipulated and fabricated how everything went down with the checks. It's surreal. It's unbelievable.
Law. And I think that's a fair interpretation of what the witnesses are saying. And you can't hide it. There's no disputing the witness's phone number is the same. There's no disputing the phone records. There's no disputing any of that. I think there's complete, there's an accurate and complete account of what actually occurred. And it's not as what was testified to.
Can you imagine 2 prosecutors, 2 detectives, all leading this, sitting down with a witness, and nobody takes out a pen to take notes? Nobody has a recording device to record it. And then nobody writes up a report that it ever happened. When you meet with a witness in a case, that's not a secret.
point, I'm assuming you would want this case to be moved out of this district.
Shanna wants to clear her name.
Yes.
She's innocent. And, you know, one face is enough when the state of Florida decides to charge you with a crime and then charge you with the death penalty and to seek the death penalty. So I don't know how one deals with that other than fights it, you know? And I think this case is equally important to everyone, because if this is the type of conduct and these are the type of things that are done in this case, when everyone is watching.
Thank you.
You can only imagine what's being done when no one is watching.
God, Jose, I mean, I would think that you were watching Truth and Transparency and my rants every day.
And I think these cases are incredibly important for that. And trust me, I have extensive experience in cases that are high profile where
You
people.
guys, look at the outfit behind Jose right here.
And I think these cases are incredibly important for that. And trust me, I have extensive experience in cases that are high profile where people are watching. And if you're sloppy and you do this in a high profile case, you absolutely do it when no one's watching.
Yes,
and that's
100.
a scary thought here.
Yes.
It's a scary thought when a arm of the government has the ability to sanction the killing of another human being and to do it in a way where evidence is not what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So you're going to file this motion, leave it in Judge Kite's hands about what to do next.
Correct. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dude.
Well, first off, my name-
Amazing. Amazing, right? Okay. So that happens. Then.
Hello, everybody.
Prior to that.
For almost a year. On February 16, 2022, Jared Bridegan was driving home from a planned date night with his children. On Wednesday nights, Jared would take his 9-year-old twins to dinner with their 2-year-old half-sister. He had just dropped off his twins at their mother's home and was driving to his own home on a dark area of Sanctuary Boulevard here in Jacksonville Beach. Jared came upon a tire blocking his route of travel. That tire was purposely placed there to make him stop. After putting on his hazard lights and placing his car in park, he opened his door and to presumably move the tire out of the road. It was then that he was gunned down in cold blood. Nothing was stolen from him. His 2-year-old daughter remained strapped in the car seat in the back. This was a planned and targeted ambush and murder. The ruthless homicide has pained our community, and of course, Kirsten and Adam were here with us today, along with their brother Justin and the rest of Jared's family and friends who mourned his death. For almost a year, we have investigated this case, seeking the many questions surrounding Jared's murder, and most importantly, to answer the question, who killed Jared?
Mm-hmm.
Just under an hour ago, this man, Henry Tenen, was arrested for the following crimes: conspiracy to commit murder, second degree murder with a weapon, accessory after the fact to a capital felony, and child abuse, all directly related to the murder of Jared. In just a moment, State Attorney.
Okay, now the one thing that they don't tell you there is that he was arrested in the summer. But he was arrested for like driving with a suspended license, something to do with his license. And then they held him for almost 6 months, okay, in jail. And they don't charge him until January of 2023 when they get him to, I think they were waiting to hear some jail calls. I think that they were waiting to see if something would slip up. And so his public defender, he gets signed a public defender, and his public defender is having conversations with the prosecution. And they're working on a deal. Hey, get him to say X, Y, and Z, and we'll chop it on down to being X, Y, and Z, and he won't be serving. They'll avoid the death penalty, and we'll be saying that he'll get a lenient sentence. All of these things, okay? And when they end up going and charging him with this, it was after a negotiated plea deal.
Nelson will speak briefly about the charges and what's next for Taint. However, I will say one additional thing beforehand. We asked for the community's help at the outset of this crime, and I want to personally thank everyone who has come forward to offer even the smallest bit of information. We asked for your help to identify a dark-colored F-150 Ford pickup spotted around the crime scene at the time of the shooting. And we sought information about the tire planted in a road that stopped Jared. Thank you again to everyone who stepped up. It was very helpful. We hope to have more answers to provide to you, even if not, it cannot be today. And with that, State Attorney Nelson will go into.
Now, if you actually read the discovery, like I've read the discovery, there's nobody that came forward that gave any type of information on this blue truck that they were looking for. In fact, it was conflicting statements that were given by anybody that was around the area at the time, and that it was a blue or a black truck. So what they ended up using was surveillance cameras from not right where the crime had occurred, but down the way off of Jacksonville Beach Highway, whatever the initials they call it.
The charges and the next steps.
Now, when he's talking about Melissa Nelson, this is her. And this is from January 25th, 2023.
Thank you, Chief. Let me begin by thanking all of the media who has followed this case since its inception. And Kirsten, Adam, your wife Carly, your brother Justin. I know this wait has not been easy, but as I just told you, I can attest firsthand to the level of commitment that this department, the Jacksonville Beach Police Department, ATF, and our prosecution team at the State Attorney's Office has devoted to this investigation. Today, we have decided to share limited information about the state's evidence against Henry Taint. In order to protect the integrity of this ongoing and active investigation, the state has obtained a court order sealing Taint's arrest warrant and affidavit for the next 30 days. However, I will briefly discuss the 4 crimes for which Taint has been arrested. Conspiracy to commit murder. We know Henry Taint did not act alone. Conspiracy to commit murder is a first-degree felony, punishable by up to 30 years in prison. Accessory after the fact to a capital felony. This charge is based on Henry Taint's actions in the days after Jared's murder. This crime is also a first-degree felony, punishable by up to 30 years in prison. Child abuse. This charge stems from the fact that Kirsten and Jared's then 2-year-old daughter was directly in harm's way when her father was shot and killed in front of her.
Unbelievable.
This is a 3rd-degree felony, punishable by up to 5 years in prison. 2nd-degree murder. This crime is a 1st-degree felony, punishable by up to life in prison and due to Henry Taint's participation in the murder of Jared Bridegan. Taint will have his first appearance in court tomorrow morning. Thereafter, we will present his case to a grand jury in order to seek an indictment for 1st-degree murder. This, of course, will carry a punishment of mandatory life in prison.
Thank you, State Attorney Nelson. The last thing I will ask is for this community to continue its vigilance as we move forward with this case. If you have any information about this man, Henry Taint, as it relates to this crime, please contact the Jacksonville Beach Police Department or the State Attorney's Office. Thank you for being here and have a good day. Thank you.
Okay. And then, oh, look at us there.
Between an attorney and Ms. Gardner, and that she was concerned there were attorney-client communications on the iCloud. When she notified me of this, I told her to stop reading, to have everybody on the team delete the iCloud information they were.
Okay, when do you ever see this? You guys, this is a hearing to disqualify the 4th District State Attorney's Office in Jared Bridegan's murder case, okay? And this is about the Taint team and them reading and going through the phones and going through stuff that they had no business going through, because in the beginning of this case, before anybody was arrested, right after the murder of Jared Bridegan, they put wiretappings on these people's phones. There was a lot of things that were going on. And so this case is really messy because there wasn't arrest right after the murder. Okay. This continued on for a couple of years. And so the defense's job is to see, you want to put everything in chronological order of what has transpired. How did it transpire? How did this all, how are you getting X, Y, and Z? So here you have Mr. Maserati. He's at the podium questioning his fellow prosecuting attorney over here, Miss Stifler.
What do you do for a living?
I'm an assistant state attorney.
Are you the lead prosecutor in the state v. Shanna?
I am.
I didn't put this on the record yesterday, but could you detail for the court the amount of time approximately that you've put into the investigation of the case?
I've been on the case since the date of the homicide, and I've worked on it daily since then, so over 2 years.
Is there anyone in the state attorney's office that remotely has your understanding of facts and circumstances of this case?
No.
Actually, false speculation.
No.
Is there any ability for anyone to quickly gain the knowledge that you have in this case by reading the police report?
In my
Same
opinion,
objection as to what other people can do.
That's certainly a possibility. And so the court can and should consider both cases.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Mazzoni?
Mr. Court.
Yes, thank you.
For all of that, Laura, would have uploaded fee agreements and scheduling matters versus if we would have uploaded a written confession by the defendants to their lawyers made in the concept of attorney-client privilege. There's a difference in this, even if we didn't see it.
So they go through that. Next up, this gets put out there.
According to the state attorney's office, Shanna Gardner was looking for a hitman for years before the murder of her ex-husband, Jared Bridegan. Today, prosecutors backed up their argument when they showed a judge text messages between Gardner and a close friend. Gardner's defense attorneys are asking for bond to be set while she awaits to stand trial. News 4 Jax reporter Marilyn Parker is joining us live from outside the Duval County Courthouse. Marilyn, what are the details in those text messages?
So Gardner and that close friend were using code names. For Jared Bridegan, they had the nickname Stupid. They would say things like casserole or funeral potatoes when it came to referencing his death. And Gardner would make notice of how she wanted someone who could shut people up or do disappearing acts, referencing them as magicians. Now, we're going to put these text messages up on the screen for you and let you hear how it played out in court, but we're blurring the numbers to protect that information.
Mm-hmm.
Does she know anyone that could actually
carry out
Everything's blurred.
this plan.
And we see that down here in the bottom. You can drop.
You guys, July 17th, 2016. I was like, oh my God, is this for real? You guys, what? 2016. 2016.
On the screen too, if there's anything you want to circle, that Ms. Gardner replies and then replies, I'm not even joking, I want him gone, and the conversation goes on from there. At the time they're having this conversation, and here's a zoomed in version of it, simultaneous with this conversation, did you also find text messages between Ms. Jensen and the person that they were discussing finding them a hitman in the previous slide?
Correct. So while this conversation was going on, Kim Jensen reaches out to the person that they're referring to and asks if she knows anyone that can do magic, i.e. make someone disappear.
Now, this is the testimony that Jose Baez was talking about, that he is just literally like, dude, how he is taking this and explaining it on the stand. Yep, sure. You can go ahead and say this. But when you interview somebody and they say, no, that's not what was happening. That's not what that was. And then you hide that you actually interviewed the person about the text messages from the defense. You're hiding exculpatory evidence because the interview with the person about the screenshot or about the text messages is telling you something completely different.
Now, the defense called this evidence irrelevant and stale, saying it was from 6 years before the murder. While they were talking,
They said that because at the time they're like, first of all, this is irrelevant. This is stale. They have no idea even about it. And then they get the phone call from the lawyer who Jensen hired to say, hey, that is not what happened at all. And that's not how it went down.
they went through other messages with the detective, and that detective admitted that at least one of the conversations he took as a joke, and that one of the people who might know how to find a hitman was never brought in for questioning by that detective.
There's also comments about, there was that section with the alleged co-conspirator, KJ, and then her communicating with Sue. Excuse me. Another woman by the name of Susan Lee, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now,
SL, Susan Lee, Kim Jensen.
you never spoke to Susan Lee, did you?
I believe one of my colleagues did.
This is where he lies.
Are you aware that there are no interviews or statements in the discovery having to deal with law enforcement speaking to Susan Lee? So you're the lead detective in this case, and you have text messages where they're allegedly looking for a hitman, and they call and they're texting someone. You got it right there, black and white, that they're texting a potential suitor for this hitman, and you never go and talk to the person who is the alleged person who they went to go looking for a hitman?
I believe at the time that we were trying to locate her, her phone number had changed and we didn't have a good address for her. So we were not able to contact her.
Is that right? Oh my God. So Jose Baez is in this hearing, has no idea what's about to unfold. Like, meaning they're watching this, these two witnesses, and they're like, this is not fucking true at all. What do you mean my numbers changed? And what do you mean? What? Let's see how mainstream media flows here.
Now, the defense was able to call their witnesses. The first one they called was attorney Hank Cox to the stand, and he was up there for maybe less than 6 minutes. He said Shanna Gardner was waiting to be arrested in Tallahassee because she didn't want her kids to see it happen. We're told the defense is still calling witnesses. We're streaming this on news4jax.com, and once we have an update on the judge's decision, we'll be sure to update you both on air and.
Where's News for Jax talking about now? Hang tight. Oh, where is it?
Thank you, Lou. And new this afternoon, Shanna Gardner will remain behind bars after a judge denied the motion to set a bond for her. She and her second husband, Mario Fernandez, are charged with first-degree murder in the death of her ex-husband, Jared Bridegan. Bridegan, a father of 4, was killed in what has been described by police as a murder for hire. Now, Judge London Kite also denied the motion to suppress the text messages between Gardner and her close friend, Kim Jensen, who the state attorney's office has described as a co-conspirator. Now, Judge Kite was also firm that she wants a trial date set in this case.
I know that you may think that it's premature. I think it's, it allows the parties to operate with some type of certainty. And it allows, with a case like this, it allows the court to make proper preparations.
Well, she said that the attorneys, she wants them to begin thinking about what they will be asking for along with the trial. Like, will they want the jury sequestered? Because those are all issues that will have to be worked through before the trial begins.
This is Shanna Gardner. Look at. So out here is, this is when they went to Washington.
It's gonna be the white vehicle back there. We'll go to the passenger side. Yep.
So what I think is just ridiculous is Shanna Gardner had an attorney, and the attorney was like, hey, if you guys, after Mario got arrested, if you guys are planning on arresting Shanna Gardner, she will be willing to just turn herself in, okay, because she doesn't want to put her kids through any type of trauma. Okay. But if you do that, right, there is no 46-minute body cam that can then be out there and all of this, right?
Let's stop.
And so when people want to say that, no, they cared more about making their case, and maybe she'll act out, maybe she'll, I don't know, say something that she's not supposed to, all of these things, and we need all of that. So no, we're not going to work with Mr. Cox, her attorney, and we're not going to take the calls and let them know, like, hey, yeah, we are, you know, can you bring in your client? Like, we're putting out, like, she was in Florida waiting for that to happen. Because she didn't want to put her kids through anything. Nope. Then she goes, that's what was happening at the hearing when they asked the questions to Mr. Cox about that. And it was about Shanna Gardner was being fully cooperative. Hey, if this is what you guys are going to do, here. I just don't want my kids, okay? They don't give a fuck about kids. If they did, this wouldn't have went down like that. And look at this. Shanna Gardner leaves, right? And taking her away. And then they switch the cameras up. Look, watch. When she gets there, now watch, they switch cameras up and they go back to the house with who's ever still there.
Yep.
Police, we have a warrant. So actually, this may be they're using a different camera view. Is that what this one is? Yeah, it's the guy that actually walks her out. So they cut it and they go to this interview room too. They're walking in.
We're gonna bring you inside real quick. Get you out of the long car, right? Step out for me. We're gonna go through these doors over here. And then there's gonna be a hallway to your left there. Have you take a left there for me. And we'll go down to this last door here on the left. Have you stand there for me. And I'll have you take a seat over here. And what I'll do, actually, if you want to face the wall for me. For a long time, I know that kind of hurt. So what I'll do is I'll take one hand out and I'm just going to attach it to the railing right there, all right? Yep. If you want to take that hand, place the top of your head for me. And if you want to step to your left or turn the other way, I'll have you take a seat. Turn the other way for me. All right. And then if you want to take a seat for me. No, you're okay. I'm just going to scoot you a little bit. There you go. And then the other officers will be in here shortly, all right? You know, I guess it doesn't really matter, but I was going to say pulling up the camera footage, but I can just stand here, so. Chair. I'm good.
He has to sit there. He watches the room. Now, he takes off the sound of the body cam, takes and then shuts off his body cam, and then it just reappears like this. And now he turns it back on.
On your shoulders or anything?
All right, but it's
okay. Well, I'll get you down to jail as soon as possible, and then we'll get you out of these cuffs.
far away is the jail. I feel bad. Do you want me to grab this and put it in the trash?
No, we'll get it for you. That's all right. Before we go,
Sure.
you want a little bit left? just one on here on the left. And then what I'll have you do is I'll just have you face the numbers right here. Pockets.
They didn't search her.
And then I still do have your medications with me.
Okay.
So those will be checked into the jail. Just want to have C for me. Yeah, it's not regards to the charges at all. Those the medication that's in that little divider.
Yeah.
What's in those?
I can tell you. Fine. I
don't
have
know.
enough in the bottles.
Okay.
I think there was only a day left, is what my mom said.
Okay. And if you have them in the bottles, then
Yeah.
that's good. I just saw that in there, and the jail is pretty picky on prescriptions.
Yeah.
They'll take.
No, I figured the divider my mom can come and get.
I am just going to read you just since I have you in my custody. I don't know what the detectives asked you. I'm just going to read you something.
I don't know what the detectives asked you. You guys just heard that? So the detectives did go into that room. I have no idea what the detectives asked you. We don't get to see any of that part.
Counsel, you'll be entitled to have one provided without charge. Do you understand that? And that's it. So I'm going to put your seatbelt on. I'll get you down there. It's hot. So hot, my vehicle can't keep up. You're out of cuffs. I know those are uncomfortable. So just sit tight for me, all right? Jacksonville.
Remember, she was arrested
I think they're detectives, Jacksonville. But yeah, I got the two.
Let's back up on some of that.
Stuff you guys have to do.
And I'll get you down there so you're out of cuffs. I know those are uncomfortable. So just sit tight for me, all right?
They belong to ETF.
I think they're detectives, Jacksonville. But
Deputy Detective Johns and his partner.
yeah, I got the two.
You just turned on a camera there, I think. So I think one was for her arrest warrant, and then one was for the search warrant of the house, I want to say.
Looks like another part of the warrant.
Hey, I'll give something, give me a call.
Okay.
Give me a call.
All right. Well, he gave me a.
No. So you can see the state of Florida. It says Florida on there. She's in Washington because they had an extradite her. She waived extradition.
All right. Well, he gave me his business card, so if I have some type of document issue, I'll give him a call.
Okay.
I'll also give you a call.
Sam's good. Just contact me.
So that he takes her out of the county jail before her extradition to Florida. So that was her body cam. I mean, you can go watch it all if you want. And now look at this. News for Jacksonville, the local. Okay. If you go onto theirs, let's go onto theirs. And let's see if we can find the full body cam of so it was like 4 days ago. So hold on. And 911 calls. See 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And it's just like that second. 911 calls described a scene of confusion. See how the body cams aren't there? They had them. They took them down. And they just left up their little news clip of it.
The body cam footage, and it's difficult to watch. What it shows.
We've already seen that. And here's the other one. Where is it?
Well, it was a crime that stunned the Jacksonville Beach community. A father ambushed and killed with his 2-year-old daughter sitting in the back seat.
And we are getting a clearer picture of what happened in the months after Jared Bridegan was shot. After the state attorney's office did release some 911 calls and also the body cam footage. News4Jax reporter Brianna Brownlee breaks down what we are learning from the release.
I've seen the body cam footage, and it's difficult to watch. What it shows is officers arriving to the scene, finding Jared Bridegan's body in the road covered by a sheet. We did hear from the witnesses who made the 911 calls, who heard the gunshots, as well as saw the chaotic scene. Take a listen.
Jacksonville Beach, 911. I'm pretty sure I just heard 3 or 4 gunshots.
Newly released 9.
Okay. So I'm going to go and get it myself. We'll be back, though, with more of this between now and the time of trial starting. There's going to be a lot of motions, paperwork, documents. Go back and check out my footage if you want to see. I use Hector the Projector, and I put all of the reports out there. But I'm going to go get it myself, since they took them down, and put out the release of these body cams. So this trial starts in August of 2026. Until we talk later, because I got news I'm going to reveal in the Idaho 4 case. Join me back for that. Thank you, moderators, subscribers, members. We'll see you guys soon.